Hi, and welcome to this AQA A-Level Business revision video focusing on 3.3.4, making marketing decisions. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the extended marketing mix. So we've finished the 4 Ps. You'll find them in other videos. We're going to be looking at the extended marketing mix, which makes up the 7 Ps. A quick reminder that my teaching here is separate from my teaching and consultation roles in any and all schools and academies throughout the country. My name is Mr. Giles. Let's get down to business. So the extended marketing mix is quite tricky because there isn't any real concrete content you need to know other than what each one represents. However, what there is a lot of nuance and how it impacts and reflects on different businesses. You'll probably find the extended marketing mix comes up mostly in paper 2 or 3, where the case study is able to give you some sort of context about the business and then whether or not this works. I've never seen this in a paper 1 in a 25 marker, so I'm probably quite right there. So here we are. The first one is called physical environment. Now, physical environment is what the actual layout of the store or shop or wherever it is you're going actually looks like, from the minute you kind of walk in front of it to the inside, the actual physical layout, what the color scheme is, the lighting, etc., etc. Now, again, there's no concrete theories you have to know here, other than there is some psychology behind those choices. Sadly, that's not examined though, but we'll discuss it here briefly anyway. So think about the last time you went to your local supermarket and think about the layout of where things actually are. So for some bizarre reason, the refrigerated stuff is always at the front of the store, but the things that you probably want the most, like bread, is at the back of the store. Now, why is that? Well, because the minute you've put your refrigerated stuff in your trolley, you've probably made sensible buying decisions. But at that point, you then have to venture further into the store to get to things like bread and staples and walk past things that are considered not so good buying decisions. Think about where the deals are in a supermarket. They're the end of the aisles. Where do we normally walk? We walk down the middle of the supermarket. Or the way it's laid out in aisles in itself, you have to go up and down, up and down. So the layout of your supermarket has been designed with psychology in mind. Here's a silly kind of interesting fact, but you have roughly 27 minutes of sensible decision making in you as an adult before you start buying things that weren't on your original list, even if you take a paper list with you. And those stores are designed to keep you in there for a while. So the longer you're in that store, the more likely it is you'll buy things that you hadn't intended to buy. And folks, when you grow up and have your own kids, you'll realize how dangerous that will be. So that physical environment is super important. I'll give you some other examples as well. Now, hopefully, as young people, you'd have been into, say, like a Hollister. Now, first time I went to a Hollister, it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. First time I went to an Abercrombie and Fitch, same thing. Pitch black, very dark, couldn't see anything. What's going on? Both of those shops have kind of a bit of a surf vibe going on. I think it's Hollister that actually has like the front looking like a shack on the beach kind of situation. They're specifically designed in that way to fit the aesthetic of their brand. Think about shops like Next, okay? So gents or ladies, if you're watching this, Next or Topshop, places like that, okay? Very, very bright lights, exceptionally bright lights, very tall ceilings. And it's to give you the illusion of looking better than you actually are. And I don't mean that, I'm not throwing shade at anybody, but very bright lights eliminates shadows, okay? And that kind of slims people out a little bit. Okay, these are just, silly contextual ideas. I want to write about these in your exam. I'm just giving you what that physical environment is. Okay. Now, if you're a restaurant, for example, where do you sit people when they first arrive? You sit them at the front of the restaurant so that it looks busier than it is, so on and so on. I could give you a million examples. But that physical environment, what it looks like, needs to represent the values of your business and the marketing message that you're giving across. If you are a high quality premium brand, you need to have a high quality premium physical experience. People need to be walking into that store, shop, restaurant, whatever, and thinking, wow, this is fancy. Versus if you're Poundland, that's probably less important, and actually just getting people in and out of the shops and having as much stuff on the shelves as possible is probably more important. So that physical environment reflects the marketing message that you're giving. And if it doesn't, it's no good. Up next, we have people. Now, people refers to the employees, not the customers. That's a common misconception. Now, how important are your employees? Well, that again depends on the marketing message that you're trying to give across. I think here in the UK, we often fall into the trap of just receiving not great customer service in general. Okay. And what I mean by that is anybody who's traveled to other parts of the world will know that you get treated better as a customer in those other places in the world, less so here in the UK. However, there are some places where you do get treated quite well and you do get good service. And that is usually a reflection of the marketing message. So, an example I'll give you is Starbucks. And I'd love to know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. But generally speaking, when I go to Starbucks, I have a good person experience. The person behind the counter is polite, they're kind, they usually engage my daughter, she's usually with me, okay, and they're generally pretty good at their job. They make a pretty good drink. They're happy to help you. They're smiley, so on and so forth. They're actually trained that way. Starbucks has their own barista college. You have to do that for 3 months before you actually work in a Starbucks. So they take people very, very seriously because it's a direct reflection of their marketing message. All right. Now, if you're going to go and pay £6 for a cup of coffee, you'd expect good service. That would be the same. If I give you an example, if anyone's ever been to, say, like Disneyland, or I've been on a Disney cruise, the service I received there was next level, but the price was also ridiculously high. And that kind of links to the physical environment as well. The ship that we went on was unbelievable, fake gold everywhere and everything's Mickey Mouse, so on and so forth. But the service was exceptional service. Every server, service with a smile, couldn't do enough for you. But again, it reflects the quality and price. I've also been on an EasyJet flight where the air hostess has bashed me on my elbow with that trolley at least 5 times and told me off to have my elbow in the aisle. But again, it's an EasyJet flight that I paid £21 for. What am I looking for in that? Okay. So the people reflect the marketing message. How well are you going to train them? What level of service do you want them to give to the customers? Is it actually important or not? Is customer service in a Tesco important, for example? No, I just want to buy my stuff and get out. Okay. And then the last one. This is my favorite one of the extended marketing mix, is process. And it's, how do customers actually purchase? And again, there's no hard concrete content here. It's just anecdotes, unfortunately. First time ever considered buying a Tesla. I don't own one, folks. I just liked it. Went into a Tesla. They had a shop in Bluewater Shopping Centre, if you know where that is in the world, okay? So cars indoors, baffling, right? Interesting. You go in, there's a Tesla Model X and a Tesla Model, I can't remember what the other one is, whatever the one with the side doors is. I had a look around. There's one person working in that shop. This shop is busy. People are climbing out of cars, okay? And then I go up to the young chap who's there and I go, so like, how much do these cost? And he was like, oh, you can build your car over there. And he points to a load of iPads in the corner. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you go and build your car over there. I was like, oh, so like, how's it work? He's like, well, you build it on the iPad. You then put in your payment details. You pay for your car, and then we deliver it to you. So I was like, so there's no rallying in that. There's no conversation. There's no backwards and forwards. Like I said in my price video, there's no haggling involved. It's like, no, you go over there, you build your car. The price is the price. You pay for it. Bing, bang, bong. It's delivered to your house. That's a very different buying experience, a very different process to when I've bought cars in the past where you have to go in and sit with a salesperson and blah, blah, blah. They've eliminated that. It's gone. Okay. And you can even just do it from home. Just go on the website, order your car, X amount of weeks later, it arrives at your house. It's delivered. That's a very different buying process, but it is reflective of the price because they don't want to haggle because they're trying to be a premium market leader. My favorite example for process will always be Amazon's one click. Folks, it's dangerous. If you got it, it's very dangerous, but it's so handy. You put your payment details in once, you put your delivery address in once, and then when you're on Amazon and you see something you want, you just click buy now. There's no more screens. It just refreshes and goes, it's on the way. What else do you want to buy? And that's it. There's none of this adding to basket, putting your details in, doing it's none of that. You just click once, bosh, and it's on its way to you the next day, if not same day. That is a very unique process. Arguably, it's one of the most important parts of Amazon because it's a seamless experience. Whereas I'm sure we've all had the experience of being on a website and then you have to go to the payment bit. You're expecting to see, Apple Pay or PayPal, and there's not that. There's some other dodgy Stripe system. You've got to put your card details in. Your phone doesn't quite recognize it. That kind of nonsense. That's a bad process. Okay. Or even worse, if you're buying something very expensive, and there isn't that personal experience, that personal buying process where somebody sits with you, talks you through the numbers, so on and so forth, that could actually be derogatory to the buying experience, right? You want to go and buy, a fancy suit maybe, and there's no one there to actually talk you through all of that. it might cheapen it a little bit. So again, your process is reflective of your marketing message. Okay. So physical environment, what the actual location looks like, the choices of colors, palettes, all those kind of things, lighting. People, so the people that are working there, the HR, the actual workforce, what are they like? Are they well trained? Are they not well trained? And then the process, the buying process. How does it actually happen? How does it differ from other places? Could it be a source of competitive advantage? That's the extended marketing mix. There isn't really much more to know about that other than those things need to reflect the other parts of the marketing mix. So, for example, if you're using a premium pricing strategy, you're probably not going to use a seamless process. You're probably going to have a bit more of a people approached process, and you're going to have highly trained people, as an example. I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. You stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.